Dash lights on. Limp mode. Uconnect locked up. Your Jeep didn't break, it glitched. Big difference. Most shops charge a diagnostic fee before they even look at it, but 90% of these issues have a built-in reset your owner's manual never mentions. 10 fixes, completely free. And number 7 is the one most people skip, but it's the first thing I try. Trick number 10, service light pedal combo trick. Most Jeeps will keep the service light on even after a fresh oil change until you reset it yourself. You drive out of the shop thinking everything is good, look down, and that light is still staring at you. It feels like something is wrong with the Jeep, but really the computer is just waiting for a very specific signal. Here's the simple version that many owners never get told. Key in, turn it to the on position, but do not start the engine. Push the gas pedal all the way to the floor and hold it there for about 20 to 30 seconds. While it's still in on, press the brake pedal 6 steady times, then let everything go. Turn the key off, wait a moment, and then start the Jeep normally. On a lot of models, that service reminder finally disappears. The software reads that pedal combo as oil change done and updates the counter. It's not a gimmick. Normal driving never triggers it. Once the light shuts off after your secret sequence, you start wondering what other warnings hide simple reset codes like this. Trick number 9. Ignition on, hold reset button trick. Most newer Jeeps let you reset oil life right from the steering wheel, but the trick is knowing where to look. People sit in the driver's seat, poke random buttons, and still cannot get that reminder to disappear. The reset is there, it just expects a calm, deliberate move instead of guessing. Turn the ignition to on with the engine off so the cluster wakes up. Use the arrow buttons to scroll into the vehicle info section. Look for the oil life screen, not just a warning message. Once it's highlighted, press and hold the OK or reset button for a few seconds. You'll usually see the percentage instantly jump to 100%, or the display will briefly blink to confirm it. If nothing happens, it's usually because the button was released too soon or the wrong screen was active. The computer needs one clear, long press, not quick taps. After you watch that number jump back to full, the dash suddenly feels less mysterious. And when a single button press knocks out a warning like that, it makes you a lot more confident to handle the stubborn tire pressure light that shows up later. Trick number 8. Inflate/deflate tire pressure reset hack. Tire pressure can drop by about 1 pound per square inch for every 10 degrees Fahrenheit drop in temperature, and your Jeep's TPMS notices that instantly. That's why the light loves to appear on cold mornings, even though the tires looked fine yesterday. The system is reading exact pressure, not how the tire looks to your eyes. If the TPMS light stays on after you add air, grab a good gauge and stop trusting the dash alone. Check all 4 tires against the sticker on the driver's door. If one is even slightly off, bleed a little air out, then refill slowly back to the exact number. Do this for each tire because the system compares them all. On some Jeeps, the spare tire is also monitored, so don't forget to check that one too. Once all 5 match spec, drive at a steady speed for a few minutes, not just around the parking lot. The sensors send fresh data, the module compares it, and the light usually fades without any button at all. When you see that warning finally disappear after proper inflate-deflate correction, you realize how much noise came from tiny pressure changes. And that makes the idea of resetting the whole computer with a battery disconnect look a lot less scary. Trick number 7. Battery disconnect ECU reset. The ECU in your Jeep constantly adjusts fuel, idle, and shifting based on how and where you drive. Over time, bad fuel, weak sensors, or odd trips can push those learned values in the wrong direction. You end up with sluggish response or weird shifts, yet no obvious broken part. One simple way to wipe those bad habits is a hard power reset. Turn the engine off, open the hood, and safely remove the negative battery terminal. Keep it off for at least 10 to 15 minutes so any stored charge in the ECU drains out. During that time, the computer loses many of its adaptive values and goes back to base settings. Reconnect the terminal firmly, tighten it properly, and then start the Jeep. You might need to re-enter your radio presets and clock, and the first short drive may feel slightly different. That's normal because the ECU is building fresh trim and idle data from what it sees now, not from old mistakes. When the Jeep suddenly idles smoother or shifts cleaner after this, it feels like you cleared out digital cobwebs. And once you know how to reset the brain, it makes a lot more sense to teach it new driving behavior with a proper relearn drive. Trick number 6, drive relearn reset trick. After a hard reset, many Jeeps need a clean drive cycle before everything settles down. The computer no longer knows your usual cruising speed, braking style, or throttle habits. Until it sees a pattern, it runs on very basic assumptions. To speed up the relearn, take the Jeep on a calm, planned drive, not just short errands. Get on a road where you can hold around 50 miles per hour or a bit higher for several minutes. Keep your throttle smooth, avoid constant lane changes, and use predictable braking. Mix in a few normal accelerations so the ECU can watch how you really use the pedal. During this time, it updates shift timing, idle control, and part throttle fueling using live data. The key is consistency. Random stop-and-go traffic or constant idling makes that process slower and messier. Once you feel the Jeep start to shift more naturally and idle more steadily, you know the relearn is happening. And after you've seen how much one calm drive can change the way it behaves, you'll be very interested in what the dash menu can do for your oil reminders. Trick number 5, dash menu oil life reset. On many modern Wranglers, the oil life screen is part of the main vehicle info, not a hidden shop feature. It's designed so owners can reset it themselves right after a proper oil change. The problem is, most people never scroll deep enough to find it. With the ignition on and engine off, use the steering wheel arrows to enter the vehicle info section. Look for the oil life display, not just a brief pop-up message. When it appears, stop scrolling and keep that screen active. Press and hold the OK or Confirm button until you see the oil life jump back to 100%. Some clusters show a short confirmation, others simply change the number and stay quiet. From that moment, the system starts tracking again based on your future driving. It watches things like trip length, load, and idle time, rather than only counting miles. Being able to control that timer yourself means you are not stuck waiting on a dealer to press a button. And once you feel how satisfying a clean 100% display looks on the dash, the simple gas pedal reset suddenly becomes very tempting to try. Trick number 4, ignition and accelerator reset method. Many Jeeps accept a 3-press gas pedal sequence as a valid oil reminder reset. It feels like entering a cheat code, but it is actually part of the design. The trick is getting the order and timing right. Start with the key in the ignition and the engine off. Turn the key to the on position so the dash lights up, but don't crank the engine. Within about 10 seconds, push the gas pedal all the way to the floor 3 separate times. Each press should go fully down and fully back up, not halfway. After the 3rd press, turn the key back to off and pause for a couple of seconds. Now start the Jeep normally and check the oil reminder. If your model supports this, the light often disappears without touching the menu. The system sees that pattern as a manual confirmation signal, because regular driving never does that. Once you prove to yourself that 3 clean pedal presses can change what the dash shows, the idea of finding a small TPMS reset button under the steering wheel suddenly sounds worth the effort. Trick number 3, TPMS manual button reset trick. Some Jeep models still include a physical TPMS reset button hidden under the dash or near the column. Most owners never notice it until the tire light refuses to turn off. When the pressures are correct and the light still stays on, that tiny button can be the shortcut. Turn the ignition to on with the engine off so the warning lights are visible. Find the TPMS reset button, then press and hold it for around 5 to 10 seconds. Watch the TPMS light on the cluster while you're holding it. When the light flashes several times and then stays on solid, release the button. Leave the ignition on for a moment, then start the engine and drive at a steady speed. During the drive, the system rescans all wheel sensors, updates its pressure references, and clears old flags. If that one button press and short drive finally make the light disappear, you know the system listened. And once you have seen how one small switch controls the tire warning, you look at the main TPMS behavior in cold weather in a very different way. Trick number 2, TPMS tire pressure light reset. The TPMS in your Jeep is calibrated to warn when pressure drops just a few pounds per square inch below spec, long before a tire looks flat. Cold mornings, slow leaks, or ignoring the spare can each trigger that light. It is not trying to annoy you, it is following its built-in thresholds. When the light comes on, start with a real gauge, not only the digital readout on the dash. Check all 4 tires and the spare against the pressure printed on the driver door sticker. If any tire is low, add air slowly and recheck until it hits the exact number. If one is slightly high, bleed it down to match everything else. Once all tires are truly at spec, drive the Jeep above neighborhood speeds for several minutes. As you drive, each sensor sends updated values to the TPMS module. When the module sees pressures back in range and stable, it usually turns the warning off on its own. When the icon goes dark, the system trusts real data, explaining why the oil reminder needs a clear reset instead of assuming a change. Trick number 1. Oil service reminder reset. Jeep's oil reminder is built to react to how the vehicle is used, not just how far it travels. Frequent short trips, heavy loads, long idles, and off-road use all push the oil life down faster. That's why two Jeeps with similar mileage can show very different warnings. After a proper oil change, the computer does not magically know the job is done. You have to give it a clear reset through the dash or pedal method your model supports. On newer clusters, that means ignition on, engine off, into vehicle info, select oil life, and hold OK until it hits 100%. On others, the ignition plus gas sequence confirms the same thing without touching a menu. Both methods do one job. They tell the system to start counting from this fresh service, not the old one. From that point forward, the reminder watches your real driving conditions again. It's a quiet maintenance timer that only makes sense if it stays in sync with real oil changes. Once you take control of that light yourself instead of paying someone to press a button, every other warning on the dash starts to feel like something you can handle too. If any of these reset tricks surprised you, drop your Jeep experience in the comments below. Want more game-changing tips like this? Hit that subscribe button so you're always in the know. Catch you in the next video.